Okay, cool. We're back. So I'm just going to start with this. I think imposter syndrome is the biggest bullshit ever. I think the way people trap themselves with identifying as an imposter, thinking that they're not enough, is literally the biggest bullshit in the world. And that is, if you're going through that right now, you might, like, 100% you're the one that is stopping yourself from achieving everything that you want to achieve in life. And in this video, I want to tell you everything about how I literally abused my imposter syndrome to make multiple six figures in my businesses. And I think it's very interesting because a lot of people don't realize that imposter syndrome is something that you can take and you can actually flip it into fuel for whatever it is you're doing, especially if you're building a business. Okay, so let's start with actually talking about this idea. Like, what is the imposter syndrome and when does it show up? Why does it show up and how you can actually flip it into something good? The thing is, in life, every single time you want to do something that you haven't done before, let's say you want to build a business, let's say you are trying to scale, let's say you're trying to create content, I call it the saboteur part of your mind is literally going to scream at you that, dude, we're not ready for this. We're not prepared. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. We're not there yet. And that's happening because your brain is literally trying to keep you safe. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. Your brain does not want you to take risks. And so imposter syndrome kicks in because you might be stepping into a new role that you have not yet mastered. And then your brain is literally trying to find every single excuse for you to get out. And that's normal. So the first thing you got to do when you feel that imposter syndrome, you have to genuinely be aware of the fact that that is normal, and that is also a sign that you're moving up and you're actually trying to grow and get to the next level. You never feel the imposter syndrome when you're just fucking stuck on your couch and you don't do anything. You don't feel that. You only feel it when you're trying to evolve. So, for example, in my case, I literally abused this idea of I feel the imposter syndrome and I turned that into fuel to level up super fast. So, before business, I used to be a recording artist. All of my life, I was that rebel kid that was just going against the wave, that didn't listen to people, that was just so delusional, so self-centered to some degree. Like, I was just literally, all of my life, I thought to myself that I'm the most amazing guy ever and I can do any fucking thing. It doesn't matter. Now, when I became an artist and like really started to take music seriously, when I was stepping into the music industry, of course I felt that imposter syndrome. Of course I felt like this is not the place for me. Like, look at all of these guys. And we're going to get into the comparison side of things as well. Look at everybody. Look at all of these artists. Look at what they do. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't do these things. Maybe I should get out. But that is actually a sign that you're on the right track, that you're on the right path. And yeah, everything is going to feel fucking uncomfortable because it should. If you're super comfortable, then that means you're not actually growing. And what I'm trying to say, when I became an artist and when I started to like put out albums and stuff like that, I literally had to turn this imposter syndrome thing into fuel, in a sense that I was like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling this, but despite this, I'm going to actually take this and implement it and integrate it into what I'm doing. And I flipped that into a positive. Okay, I flipped that into like every single time I would go in and make a song, I would tell myself like, I belong here. I would literally try and brainwash myself into thinking, this is what I do. This is like what I'm meant to do. And I don't care about this sort of like negative feeling. I'm going to use it as fuel. I'm going to use it as fuel. And the more you do that, the more you brainwash yourself into thinking you are exactly where you're supposed to be because you are, the more you do that, the more your brain will then start to see small clues and actual proof in real life and in your outer reality then that's the case. So it's the reticular activating system. Every single thing that you think about, every single bias that you have, every single obsession that you have in your mind, that's going to be reflected, it's going to be shown back to you in your reality. So with music, I brainwashed myself so much to the point where I became so good as an artist, and I actually obviously improved throughout the years, that every single time I would have my imposter syndrome kick in, I would literally go through this idea of a mental model. So a lot of people don't even talk about this, but I would go through this like mental process, almost like a filter, to try and determine, is this imposter syndrome that I'm feeling currently, is this something that is, that is valid, or is it just like some bullshit thought that I have? And so basically what I'm trying to say, every single time you feel the imposter syndrome kick in, you can literally go through like a step-by-step process filter to try and invalidate that sort of like syndrome, that imposter syndrome kicking in. So meaning I would tell myself with music, I would tell myself, okay, I'm feeling like I don't belong here, but do I actually have success with this? Like some type of success? Yes. Do I have like people listening to my music? Yes. Do I have connections in the music industry? Yes. Am I respected to some degree? Yes. So what is the problem? Then that means it is absolutely fake. That's absolutely fake. And so this applied for me throughout my life with my businesses as well. So after quitting music, because at one point I did realize, and this was not an imposter syndrome, I did realize that music industry and environment, it wouldn't allow me on a long term to fully be myself because of just how fake the industry was. I never liked the whole buddy type of vibes with an industry. So I just quit because I realized like I'm just larger than that industry, and I just took my creativity and went into business. Now, when I started my creative agency, then my SaaS company, and then my e-com store, every single time, at every single point throughout that sort of like business adventure, I felt like I don't belong. But again, it was literally just about me brainwashing myself until that feeling went away. So that is the more you can actually understand that you can brainwash yourself into being whoever you want to be, then the more success you're going to have in life. Because the number one thing that is holding you back right now is not that you don't have the skills. It's not that you are not, sharp enough for like your work ethic. It's not really that. It's your identity. It's that voice inside of your head that is literally running your life, because you've been programmed throughout your life to not believe in yourself. This is why the imposter syndrome is so powerful with so many people, and it literally runs their life. Because all of our lives, like, we're taught to not believe in ourselves. So every single time we're trying to take a step up and like level up, we're literally trying to go against our own programming, and that is really hard because again, your brain is literally going to try and find any single argument it can that you do not belong, because it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to literally keep you where you are. And if you lean into that, that's literally it's just gonna ruin your entire progress. Okay? And that's the thing with all of this. When I started my personal brand at the end of 2023, going into 2024, and even now with my consulting business with Unlock Creators, after having like blown up with hundreds of millions of views on Instagram, even now, earlier this year, I had a lot of these thoughts like, do I really belong here? Like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? And then I realized, just like before, I have to be conscious of my self-talk. I have to be really mindful of the way I talk to myself. So if you're currently going through a phase in which you feel like you might not belong, let's say you moved in a different environment, let's say you switch careers, let's say you're trying to build an online business, let's say you're trying to post content, be super mindful of your own self-talk and how you actually communicate with yourself, because that is literally running your day-to-day life. If you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm not good. Like, look at me. I don't have the progress that this guy has. I don't yet have the achievements that everybody else has." You're literally gonna self-sabotage. Nobody else is stopping you. Not the industry, not content, not like the algorithm, not AI, not nobody else is stopping you. It's just literally your voice, and you're losing against yourself. So that's why when that imposter syndrome kicks in, fucking abuse it. Abuse it. I've abused it so much that right now it's like, bring it on. You know what I mean? Like if I actually start to feel like that, I'm like, amazing. I want to feel like that more, because then that means I'm actually evolving. I'm actually growing. If I'm getting super fucking comfortable, then that means I'm not doing shit. That means I'm not doing shit. That means I'm just like standing still. And I'm not actually pushing forward. And also, regardless of the industry you're in, with feeling that imposter syndrome in your life, that's also coming from this comparison. You constantly comparing yourself to others. You constantly, like looking at people that don't even have a fucking connection with you. You don't even know these people, but you constantly compare whatever. Let's say you just started a business and you compare yourself to someone who's been doing that business for like 10 years plus. And then you look at that and you're like, oh, wait a minute, like I don't have that success. And that means I'm not good enough, right? Which is obviously false. But the more you lean into that, the more you're going to self-sabotage. And that's why you will then feel like an imposter. You will then tell yourself, this is the self-talk. You will tell yourself like, oh, I don't actually belong here. Like I should just quit. And this is why I've seen so many people. And again, these are nuances. I've seen people that quit because they're genuinely amazing, but their own mind will not let them perform. Their own mind will not let them play in the arena. And I think that is really interesting. Really interesting. Because again, nobody teaches you that. Nobody, especially in online business, everybody's like strategy, but nobody is teaching you how to actually deal with the things going on in your mind, because that is running your business, that is running your life. And that's why you lose. You literally lose to yourself. That's all it is. That's all it is. And you have to be willing to literally be almost like a psycho with this shit. You have to be like, you know what, I'm gonna bring it on. The imposter syndrome, the anxiety, I'm gonna abuse that. And I'm gonna turn that into fuel. And there's a difference, obviously, between you being, and this is awareness, self-awareness. You have to be genuinely aware, how I was, for example, with music, when I truly realized that I do not belong in this industry, not because I feel like an imposter. It's because I realized that this industry is not healthy for who I want to be, and it's not actually aligned with the identity that I'm trying to build. And that is perfectly fine. That is a nuance. You can always quit something and start something fresh. But the thing is, most people quit not because they're not good enough. They quit because their own minds mess with them. Their own mind fucked them over. And it reminds me of the story, like I don't know where it's from, but I heard this story, like this guy is driving, right? He's driving his truck and he gets a flat tire. Something going bad with his car, whatever. He pulls up down the road. It's like in the middle of nowhere, whatever. And this guy needs something to fix the car, basically. And he needs a small part to fix it. Now, this guy sees a house later down the road, like he's in the middle of nowhere, but he sees this house and he's like, I should go to that house to like basically like try and get some help, see if they have this piece to fix my car. And then as he's walking over there, because he has no other option, as he's walking over there, he's literally telling himself, what if they don't have that piece that I need, right? What if they cannot really help me? What if the guy opens up the door and then cusses me out? What if they shoot me? I don't know. What if something goes wrong? And you know what happens? That guy knocks at the door. They let him, they open up the door, and the guy's like, you know what? I don't even need your help. And then he just walks off. So the theme of that story is we just self-sabotage constantly, even before reaching our destination. When in reality, everything is good. In reality, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The reason why you might feel that imposter syndrome is valid, that's a sign that you're on the right track. And there's nothing wrong. That's the mindset that you gotta really implement. There's nothing wrong. Everything is already aligned. Everything is already in the right place. So why the fuck am I accusing myself so much? Again, the internal dialogue that people have is so messed up. They don't even allow themselves a chance to win. It's so easy to win nowadays. But if people are so messed up in their minds, it's going to be really hard, right? If you have that messed up internal dialogue, this is going to be very hard. Very hard. Regardless of what you try to do on the outside, regardless of your actions. And look, with all of this, what you also need to understand is that you need to be delusional. Okay? You gotta be delusional. You gotta be so delusional to the point where, regardless of what negative feelings you have, you just keep pushing forward, because in your mind you think you're the most amazing person, the most skilled. It does, like, delusion is healthy as long as you actually know how to use it for good. Being delusional and brainwashing, this is literally what it is. You brainwashing yourself daily. I brainwashed myself daily for 3 months. When I started to post on Instagram, nothing was going on. Nothing was happening. On the outside, I was posting every single day. I was posting 2-3 videos on Instagram, and I had like 50 followers in like 2 months, which was obviously like a sign that, dude, like, this is not gonna work. But I didn't really care, because in my mind, I was like, no, this is working. This is amazing. I'm amazing. It doesn't matter. I'm bigger than the platform. I'm bigger than the algorithm. It doesn't fucking matter. And that's the thing. That type of delusion and self-belief is actually super healthy. It's super healthy. Because it's going to allow you to push through any sort of blockage, any sort of obstacle. Imposter syndrome kicks in, boom. It doesn't matter. You have the self-belief. Anxiety kicks in. It doesn't matter. You feel overwhelmed. Doesn't matter, because you have the self-belief. Even when you feel down, even when you feel like you don't actually belong, like there's no chance for you to step into, break through an industry or create your personal brand or create content, you might press record for 50 times and record 50 videos, and your mind might tell you, you know what? I genuinely feel like I don't belong here. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And then you might delete all of those videos. And you literally self-sabotage. You destroy your own progress. But on the flip side, if you have that delusional belief, you're going to film, you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to upload. Maybe it's not the best, but I'm the best. I'm going to become the best. And so every single time, again, you have to abuse these negative emotions and flip them into fuel for your own journey. So hopefully this video was helpful. And continue to just like believe in yourself, and don't let these fucking voices or like even external feedback bring you down, and turn all of these negative things into positives so that you can literally become unstoppable and undeniable. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one.